Okay, we don't know.
You just missed it. It was that was the most insightful thing you've ever said.
And probably will never say.
I'm just going away now.
All right, well, let's go on. I don't know why it logged us off, but we're back on.
You know what? I'm gonna.
Okay.
So the question we were just answering are elements of a Kickstarter campaign that people should really look at, and Jamie does talk about this in his book, but I'm going to tie it into the previous question of what's crucial.
Okay.
Take another look at shipping. Look at how much you're charging for shipping.
It's painful.
Yeah,
It's painful.
if something is going to sink your campaign, it is going to be shipping. And the perception of what shipping and freight costs and the actual truth of what those things cost are radically different. And a lot of campaigns are adjusting what they're charging you for shipping in ways that they don't necessarily talk about, and it will be very, very valuable for you to take your time, get real numbers, and take shipping seriously.
Fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're shipping games now. Some of our games, we're paying more for shipping than the client paid for the game and shipping. So we're losing money on some of those straight up.
Mm-hmm.
It is way more expensive than you think it is, and quite honestly, nobody wants to pay for shipping. So it's a deal. It's something that you have to really look at. Everybody complains about shipping. Nobody likes to pay it. I don't like to pay for shipping either. I get it. It's just a real world cost, and if you don't take care of yourself, that's why some of these folks are not able to complete their campaigns, because they miscalculate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you think that Kickstarter is a good option for creators to bring out their games? I mean, it was successful for us to do this, but you know, if you were advising another developer, is this the way that you would advise them?
I think there's yes and no. There's a huge audience of board game folks available, kind of constantly watching Kickstarter on the plus side. On the negative side, it's saturated with mediocrity and people who do not know how to put a campaign together or put a product together. And quite honestly, that saturation level has basically sucked all of the money out of those backers, and so they can't back everything that they want to because there's so many things out there. And it's really hard to tell what the good games are from the bad ones, if we're talking specifically about board games. And so I think it's a great place if you do all of your homework and you do pre-marketing for months before you launch. You put everything into your product, you take your time, and you do it right. I think it's a fantastic place to do that. I think if you think that you're going to bring your product to market to make a fast dollar, you're in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think a lot of it just depends on what is your passion, what is it about this process that you're passionate about. If you just want to design a game and that's what you're excited about, but the logistics, most of what you do with a Kickstarter campaign and bringing a Kickstarter game into the world, 70% of the process is not actually designing a game. So if the only part of the passion for you is designing the game, you're probably better off being a designer, pitching the game to publishers, going through that traditional process.
That's his mom. Marc's mom's here.
Mom's here.
Look, there she is right there. You want to bring her in?
No, but I'm going to step out for 1 second.
Okay.
It's his mama. Okay, so here's a question. We'll let Marc give some love to his mama. For you, Tom, how hard has it been for you to wait for the games to arrive?
It has been incredibly hard to wait for the games to arrive. On a number of levels. I mean, on one hand, for us, because we've poured all our passion and all our creativity and all our excitement into this game, and you're just on fire for it, and then you just wait for something to go wrong for a year and a half. And so, yes, it has been hard. It has been hard watching the backers have to wait because we know they're excited, and part of the joy for us is their passion and their excitement. and watching them have to wait too has also been difficult. Waiting is always difficult.
Yeah.
You know, when is waiting not difficult?
Oh, this was the one I wanted to respond to.
Okay, Marcus.
What was the question?
It was how hard has it been to just wait for the games?
Yeah, it's really hard, and we hear that a lot. And people are really, really wanting their game. and that's awesome. I don't care. I want them to get the game that they hope it is.
Mhm.
And so what I mean by that is I want everybody to get their game as quick as they can, to be honest. But I have zero urgency around it and rushing it because I want them to get the game and have them just feel really good about that investment and
For a long time to
and what
come.
it's going to mean to play it for a long time to come. I know that you're going to feel that. I know that people are going to feel that when they get it. That's what everybody's saying here. They're like, wow.
Mhm.
And so
We have a little note. Jason Wright says, "What up, Marc? Wish I could be there. Congrats on the game." Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Thank you. It's been fun watching people pick up their game and be like, "Wow, the box is big. It's so heavy."
yeah, there's a lot in there.
All right, so let's kind of go towards the fulfillment process questions, okay? So what was the biggest unexpected hurdle that we faced getting Vindication to print, and what have you learned? What's the biggest hurdle?
Wow, there's so many.
Yeah. Everything takes a lot longer than is as advertised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've worked in the creative field for my whole 25 years, and I've worked with print production and fulfillment of things locally for decades, and I know exactly how to do that. And we don't miss time, and we don't miss budget, and all of that. This is a very different animal. Even if you pad it, even if you double it, it's different. And so it's another one of those things that you need to do your homework, you need to do your research, and then you need to pad it excessively. And you need to ask some people who've done it before, and you need to get advice from people who've done it before, even if it's uncomfortable, because it's not something that's really easy to get your arms around.
All of which are things that we did, and still were surprised.
So, because the question really is what the biggest hurdle was, and pretty much what you guys are saying is like the entire manufacturing process.
Yeah, manufacturing is a hurdle.
Okay.
Yeah, oceans.
Yeah, it takes a lot. You know, in a consumer society, we love to have things now. We've been trained. You know, you can get things immediately. If I want something, I can go to Amazon and have it.
Uber Eats.
2-day Prime shipping. It's at my door.
McDonald's is at your front door.
Don't have to wait. I get that. I don't like to wait either. It's hard enough for me just in traffic. But the truth is,
It is really hard in traffic.
good things come to those who
Never
wait.
be in traffic with Marc. We could have a whole show.
Look at his face. All right, I'm moving on here. Okay, what would you do completely differently in the future? Like totally, you would flip the table over. It would be a whole different thing you would do.
It all relates to the homework, and it all relates to, you know, I think for me, I would have done 3 times as much work before I even thought about putting it on Kickstarter. Kind of goes back to my earlier point. You need to be dialed and ready to go and funded, and I don't mean Kickstarter funded, but you need to have a certain amount of money that you've invested into what you're doing before you even start to promote that. You need to have talked to people in fulfillment, you need to talk to people in manufacturing, you need to just get all of your information, get your plan together, get your act together. And we learned into it and thought, well, we'll just be flexible. We'll just learn as we go. We'll go do all that. And like Tom said, we did all that, and it still took way longer, right? And it cost us more money. I think that's just part of taking your lumps.
What are your thoughts, Tom? I have thoughts too, but I want to know yours.
I mean, without opening the giant Kickstarter can of worms, I have decided I'm not a fan of exclusive items.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a whole conversation about that.
Nothing about that has been good for us.
Yeah.
Kickstarter exclusive items, we've had a lot of people say, well, I'll just wait for it to go to retail. Well, we're not in retail, so we need backers to fund this, and you know, at one point I just kind of caved and be like, okay, we'll do a Kickstarter exclusive. I'm much more in favor of promo items that you get into Kickstarter that are available later for a price. That's the solution to that problem, and some other industry influencers have talked about that. you still see early birds, and you still see those Kickstarter exclusives.
I think
there will be no more from
Marc.
Marc.
Bring a product to market. If you are a backer of the game, you absolutely deserve to get something extra. And in my mind, that extra is more stuff for free.
Yeah.
It's available down the line for other people, but they're going to have to pay for it. You get it for free because you're helping bring the stream to life. I think that's where I've landed on. This is fair. It's respectful to everyone.
Like, because specifically, we're going to have a bunch of boulder hulks, right?
What do you mean?
Don't we have extra boulder hulks we can't use anywhere?
We do not have any boulder hulks.
Oh.
That's the problem.
I see.
Yeah.
Boulder hulk problems.
We could have, though. Had they not been exclusive. So if they were promos, I probably we probably could have made an extra 1,000 of those and then sold them for people who did not get in early on the Kickstarter. And we're just being real honest and revealing everything that we would have done differently, and that's one of them. Is Kickstarter exclusive.
I have absolutely missed campaigns because I was on vacation that month, or I was busy at work, or I was having a baby, or whatever happens in life.
You've had a baby,
Marc. And when Tom has a baby, he does a really good job at having a baby.
Yeah.
Not really. His wife Dinah is here today, and she looks awesome, and she's helping out with the promo table. She's on our Instagram stories if you want to check her out.
Yes.
Yes. She had the baby.
She did all the baby work, definitely.
Okay. Were there moments? This is an interesting one. Were there moments for your post campaign where we looked at each other and we were like, it's over, like the bottom was going to fall out and we weren't going to be able to do what we said we were going to do? Were there any moments like that?
I think you can answer that. Do you remember the conversation we had?
I don't know.
What if it doesn't fund? Right? Like we're in the second Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah,
I had a
absolutely.
conversation, and what do you remember?
Yeah, it was right after the first one failed, right? So
I pulled the plug. It probably would have funded, but it would have been really lousy.
So after the first one, we canceled it. We sat down and we had a talk, and Marc was like, I don't know, do I do another one? What if it doesn't fund? What if it doesn't work? And I looked at him and I was like, you know what it would be if you wouldn't fund? We'd just do it again, we would just keep doing it and keep doing it. Again,
and if it doesn't fund, we'll go back and we'll regroup and we'll do it again, and we'll do it again, and we'll do it differently, and we'll learn. And so
probably that point, like between the two, the one that we canceled and starting the next one, was when we really considered, what would we do if it didn't work?
This is a passion project, and I at no point felt any of those things because I wasn't in it for the money. We're still not where we need to be.
Steven's checking in.
And I think you have to have an undaunted kind of spirit and think, no matter what, I'm just going to do this because this is what I do. I'm a creator and I'm going to make things, and I don't rely on anybody else's funding to do what I do. And I want to share it with everybody, and I'd like it to be successful so that we can do more of it. But at no point did I ever feel like I just was going to tank it. I think that's not to say that those situations don't arise, but it would be very difficult for us to not, push forward knowing what we know and putting what we put into it, because, we just bring it.
Yeah, failure isn't exactly a thing.
Yeah, we're not really.
For us, like the bottom wouldn't fall out. If the bottom started to fall out of something, somebody would just hold it up.
There are moments during the campaign that are scary, when it's all in the water, or when you push go on manufacturing and you just hope that everything is perfect because you just said go.
And you transfer over huge amounts of money.
Yeah, so we never had any moments where we had any reason to think that it was going to fall out, but we definitely had those moments where we thought, hope it doesn't.
The ship doesn't sink because there's a typhoon. Now that happened.
Okay, we had a little note here from Steven. He said that he can't stay long, but wanted to say, yo. I like yo. And that he's had a great time chatting with us in the comment section as well. So thank you, Steven. Okay, let's go through to another one. Okay, this is like all the touchy-feely questions, okay? So are you ready for a couple touchy-feely questions? What about Vindication makes you most proud? Can I answer first? Okay, so what I am most proud about with Vindication is that it's a game that has the ability to teach things that will make people happier in their life. Like, that's kind of what I've dedicated most of my life efforts to, is making myself happier and making people around me happier. And so the fact that the game has concepts that teach you how to use your inspiration and how to use your strength and how to use all of these attributes, you might not be thinking that it's actually teaching you about life when you're playing, but it's still putting these concepts in your mind, which puts them into practice for you. And that's what I'm most proud of, that it's a game that brings more light into the world.
I would say I am most proud that it's really mindful. The game is gorgeous. It has stunning components. The design is beautiful. Everything is, like, physically, it is top notch. But that's what we do for a living. And so it's just sort of a given that anything that we make is going to be of the highest caliber physically and from a design perspective. But what I'm really proud of is that it's a fun game and a good game, and it has special depth to it that I don't experience with a lot of other games.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, what about you, Marc? I mean, this is a big question. This is years of your life that you've put into this. So what are you most proud of about Vindication?
I had someone come to the last event that we were at and played it for the first time after backing out on Kickstarter and said that it played the way that he hoped it would when he was backing on the Kickstarter, and was really excited and wanted to just keep playing and playing. And I think that it makes me proud to think that all the people that worked on this besides me, got to collaborate and put something together that allows people to have experiences together. And that does feel a little touchy-feely, but that's the whole point, is we just want to play games and have a good time and forget about the rest of the stuff. And sometimes that's what you want. This is a great way to do that.
One of the guys who's right over here who travels, I think they traveled down from Seattle, so they traveled about 3 hours, and he came up to me and he says, "So is this event everything that you hoped and wished it would be?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "For me too," So like they're playing it right over there. So that's the same kind of thing, right? Okay, Derek waved. Hi, Derek. And then we've got Jug. I'm so hyped to get my copy. Hurry up, Quartermaster Logistics. So maybe if we all take a moment of peace, Quartermaster Logistics will speed up. Is that possible?
I will take a moment of peace.
Marc doesn't believe in this.
I feel good
right now. Okay.
I feel good.
I will also offer a big, thank you, Quartermaster. Yeah, Quartermaster is organized and on it. So I know it feels like everything's taking forever, but if you saw all the things that Quartermaster were doing, oh my goodness, and those people are dialed.
Okay, that's our friend Colton. Okay, so let's see. Do you have a favorite piece of art in the game, Tom?
I do. Well, I have many favorite pieces of art. I mean, all the art in the game is incredible.
Give me one. You're not allowed to tell me many. Give me one favorite piece.
Well, my favorite piece of art, if I was just to pick one, so having written the lore of the game, it's tied to the experience that I've had doing that and what I think of when I see the art. And it'd probably be Sestra. So in the lore of the game, Sestra went from being just, a unassuming librarian to all of a sudden she undergoes this change. And she calls herself the lore keeper, capital lore keeper, and she has this book that if you look at it, there's nothing printed in it, but she's always pouring through it. And so she's a player in this big overarching game that we don't understand yet, and just this neat, mysterious character. So now every time I see her art and many other pieces of art in the game now, that's what I see.
Sestra, the lore keeper.
Yeah, and she's immortalized in the little starting player mini.
We got one thing here from Jug again. He said, they say, "Congrats. When will the promo pack be available on site? Must have all things Vindication."
Soon, very soon. The store's going up.
We're aiming to get the store up next week.
Yeah.
Next week. We're aiming for next week.
Think November.
Yeah.
Think November.
And thank you for asking.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, Marc, do you have a favorite piece of art?
My favorite pieces of art are captured in the lore book. And I know that's a lot, but the box cover is one of my favorites. That's why it's on the box cover, because I'm very connected to all of them. But the lore book, and if you look at the images in there, the bigger ones are the most important, to me, and then kind of telling the story and the narrative. And then the ones that are in the lore book are probably, easily isolated as my favorites.
And I have a couple, but the one that I'll almost always say is Lacey the Untamed, just because you know, we're kindred spirits.
Right,
So.
and rightly so.
Absolutely.
I'm named after her, really.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so let's see. What did you all? Ooh, this is an interesting one. Okay, we're gonna dig deep for just a moment. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Sorry if I cried.
Marcus, what did you learn about yourself during this process?
Let me tell you something. Hello, Jared.
That's my brother. He's demoing the game right now. You can say hi on your way out.
Live stream.
Say bye. That's my brother Jared. Okay, now let me ask that really deep, penetrating question again. So, what did you learn about yourself during this process?
I'll tell you what I've come out of this with is I feel like I can do anything, and I did not know that when I started this process. I knew that I was going to make a game and maybe play with my friends. I knew I could execute. There's some dancing going on.
That's his wife right
that's
there,
my
and
wife.
Derek.
And Derek.
I've also
They're
learned.
so cute.
I've also learned that the people that you surround yourself with are the most important thing. One of the most important decisions that you can make. Those who fill you up and inspire you and do this type of thing and encourage you and are with you even in the rough times. You can do anything. Well, you can't do anything, but you can do almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Tom?
Yeah. Well, a lot of what he just said. I think a lot of discussions Mark and I have had during this experience is that, like, we have just decided that there is no, like, this is what we're doing now, and you reach a point in life where you stop thinking, you know, sooner or later this might happen, or I would really like to have this experience or engage in these things or be creative in this way, and you just have to refuse for that not to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned for myself a little more specifically the need inside me for this sort of creative experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I engaged in that more when I was younger. I did lots of freelance writing in music and film, and I thought when I get older, you know, I certainly will be doing something creative. And then that didn't exactly pan out, and I was finding all my fulfillment with, you know, supporting my family. But what I found is if I also have this other fulfillment in a creative space and share that with my family and have both fulfillments at once, it's just a fire inside.
the story that you tell yourself in your head is the one that's most likely to come true. And I think it's really easy to say that one of these days I'm going to do that. I'm going to get that job, or I'm going to, you know, take care of my body better, or be a better dad, or a parent, or whatever. And I think I've learned that one of those days needs to be today, because tomorrow doesn't come.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, I like this one. If each of us had to be one of the 6 attributes from the game, which attribute would you be and why?
Fellowship of the Light.
No, not guild. Not which guild would you be.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was waiting one from me.
That's right. Oh, inspiration.
That's what I was gonna say.
I mean, you kind of want to say wisdom too. It's kind of right there in the color wheel. But our tagline at Orange Nebula is inspired thinking, and our goal is to inspire people to think bigger. Okay, that's it. And I think for me and my gifts and talents and creativity are all pushed towards inspiring people, which is why we have kind of a positive spin on what we do, because we just want to inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom's really in there; they're tied together because, you know, yellow, blue make green.
Mm-hmm.
People will know that.
Uh-huh. Okay, I would be inspiration, and that's just because I think there's some sort of portal in my own mind that just allows ideas to constantly flow into my head. That's what I do every day. I just am constantly coming up with ideas, and I'm not very strong, and so I can't be strength. And
I don't know. There's different kinds of
Is that
strength.
the only kind of strength?
That's right.
I don't know. It doesn't feel as me.
And there's the 6 are, you know, strength, inspiration, knowledge, vision, wisdom, and courage.
I guess I could be knowledge too, because I love to learn. But I don't know, I have more ideas constantly, and so I think that I'm more inspiration. What do you think I am?
I think we're all attributes of all of them at different levels.
But that's not the question. It's which one.
I mean, you know.
No cop-out answers here. It's just the real deal.
Okay, so now yours.
I don't know all of them.
You can't do that! Which one?
Well, probably inspiration, but if I was just to mix it up a little bit, I would probably throw vision in there.
It's like, are you a father to your children, or are you a husband to your wife? It's like, which one are you? Well, both.
Yeah, they're pretty related.
Exactly.
Vision.
I like vision. I could do that too. That's almost like having ideas, but
it's the opposite of inspirations. They're complementary on the comedy.
Okay, ready? What were your favorite monsters, pets, or other creatures? It says that didn't make it into the game. So which ones that didn't make it into the game?
Oh man, I don't think anybody can answer this but me. There was a lot, but I tried to find a home for a lot of them. Some of them became pets. The other ones kind of went into a vault that may come up later. So I don't know how else to answer that.
It's a fair answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
My favorite pet is in the game, and it's Claude. It's the squirrel with the bread on his back because it's made out of a real thing that we saw.
A lot of stuff found a way in the game. We've got Claude, we've got Pumpkin, we've got the cake knife. So I know there are a couple very specific pets that people are interested in that were bantered around that aren't in the game. That shall remain unnamed. But can't think of anything hyper specific that.
Okay, we're almost done. We've got a few more questions left. This is a good one we got. Okay, so we got a message that says I'm gonna read it for you guys. Okay. There seemed to be a huge focus on keeping the updates overly humble, thankful, and positive. Was it on purpose? And if so, why? Because it was really annoying to this person. Okay, so was it on purpose? Were we on purpose highly positive and humble and grateful?
I would say yes, and I also see how that could be annoying. I had to think about that one for a while.
I totally get and appreciate this question because I think everyone has those people in their life where it's just like, come on, just be normal.
Just be a human
Just
being.
be yourself. What is this thing that you're doing?
Being.
What is the point of it?
Slap fights.
Yes.
You don't see the slap fights.
No, not on
You
the
don't see the crazy that happens back here. The strangling. You strangled me.
The truth of the situation is what you're seeing from us is very genuine and very real because this is a passion thing for us, and what we want to do as Orange Nebula is inspire ourselves, inspire other people, bring light, bring joy, bring fun into the world. And that's the whole reason that we're doing this. So it's not a surprise that that's what you get from us. That's literally the point.
Yeah, and I think the reality of who we are is not quite as touchy-feely as maybe we come across in our verbiage and the way that we write things.
It's pretty darn close, though.
I would say
there's an unusual amount of
literally our videographer just walked out of the room, and when he walked out, he goes, "Hi, Lacey, you're awesome," and he goes, "Oh, I sound like Marc. Weird." Okay, because that's what people say when they go around saying, "Oh, you're wonderful, you're amazing." They go, "Oh, I sound like Marc," because this is the personality that this man has worked to curate for himself, is being positive to everybody, including himself. And that's how we do cool things around here. We support each other, we lift each other up so that we can create more cool stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to go through life, but we have decided to pour into each other and to invest in each other and in our work in a positive, fun way that fills us and other people up.
And that doesn't mean we don't sob at home. And that doesn't mean that
I sob all the time.
And honestly, and to be totally real, we've had some really, really hard, tragic, traumatic stuff happen to us as a group in the last few months, and we feel it together and we support each other through it. So it's not all cupcakes and rainbows and sunshine.
And it's not. I've had other comments. I've seen other comments in there. Why don't you guys just act like a business? You know, don't you just grow up and act like a business or be professional? And my answer to that is, this is how we do that, and we don't care.
If that was the point, we'd go start a different business where we made a bunch of money.
It's a board game company.
Yeah.
It's fun and games.
That's right. Why can't we just be fun and games?
Yeah, because we are.
This is who we are, and not everybody has to love that.
But in honor of this question,
we're not trying to be touchy-feely. We're not trying to like.
In honor of this question, slap fight initiated between Tom and Marc. Ready? Go.
Slap her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I hope he's happy now. It's not annoying anymore. We're not.
That was for you, guy.
That was for you. Okay. Okay, this is for you guys. So, what's your favorite game other than Vindication right now? What's your favorite board game other than
I'm still
Vindication?
talking about Anachrony because that's one of my favorites that I'm playing with my group. That's like I'm like a year into saying that same game, but those guys nailed it on Anachrony. I think it's Mind Clash. Fantastic game.
Ooh, we've got a couple people on here.
That's the one I would say.
James gave us a heart. Hi, James. Andy said, like I said, your family atmosphere you guys have is awesome and makes work so much more fulfilling. Absolutely agree. James said, oh, you guys are professional and the positive energy is a great thing. Thank you. We appreciate
James.
that. I'm glad you're not annoyed by
Awesome.
it. Okay, what about you? What's your favorite game right now?
Right now, my wife and I are playing a lot of, we have 2 young kids, so gaming time is short. We're playing a lot of Star Wars Destiny. That's a lot of fun, and you can squeeze it in. When we get big windows, we're playing Empires of the Void 2, Red Raven game.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the storytelling elements of that. And if I was just to sit down right now and play anything I wanted for as long as I wanted, I would definitely be playing the Arkham Horror card game and digging through those scenarios, because I think that game's genius, and it totally deserves all the credit it's getting. It's a very cool game.
And I have tiny humans right now. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, so we play a lot of Rory's Story Cubes. I know that's not a board game, but,
Those are awesome.
we love it.
Great idea.
I've got all the mini ones, and I've got the big giant ones too. And my daughter will draw stories and then write stories about it, and so that's really fun for me.
My girls are 14 and 12. We play almost everything that I get, and there's a lot of games go through Orange Nebula. They like Grim Forest quite a bit. We actually played Finca, the game of fruit, which is really light and super good, super well done.
What's the name of that game? Coconuts?
We played Coconuts. Thanks, Mike Van.
Shout out to Mike. Yeah.
Coconuts is fun.
That's a fun game, but yeah, Anachrony is a good one. And we still play Zolkeen and some of those. There's so many games stacked.
Okay.
Stone. Yeah.
What Kickstarters are you guys waiting on right now that you're excited for?
Somebody just asked me that today, and I'm going to go to my phone.
Well, the thing I'm waiting on playing the most that I haven't played yet is Feudum. I know that's not fair because that's already landed.
Feudum's awesome. It's very deep and has some complexity to it. My 12-year-old can crush it in that game, so...
Your 12-year-old can crush you in all games, though.
That's true.
She's got something special going on.
They're very smart, both.
The game I'm probably looking forward to the most that isn't here yet is probably the second season of Dice Throne. It's another one of those kind of dueling kind of games that my wife and I can play in the evening, and it doesn't take 2 hours. You know, we love Summoner Wars. We like that type of thing.
I'll give you a few that we back a lot of games, and some of them are just because we want to learn more, and not always because we're completely into the game. But these are the ones that I think look really interesting to me. Fantastic Factories. I'll let you guys look these up later. Call to Adventure looks interesting. Endogenesis is a dark horse for me. It looks really interesting. They did a really good job with the campaign. Here's one that really barely funded about a week ago. Waters of Nereus. That game looks really interesting to me, and I kind of wish they had done a little bit better, but I guess I'll find out when the game comes. The Stonebound Saga has already funded, and I already have that game. It's flown under the radar. It's a very strong skirmish game. I really like that, and I'm looking forward to the expansion, which also just funded, or it's funding momentarily here. And then there's others, but those are the ones that come to mind.
Okay, are there plans? We have one question here. If there's plans for any further expansions for Vindication?
There are always plans. They're things that we kick around.
They're not priorities right now.
Yeah.
We've got the collaborative sci-fi game, which we really haven't revealed hardly anything on, that we're very excited about. Tom, you don't have to talk about any of the details, but where are you at on that game?
I'm on fire about that game.
Yeah.
That game is, we talk a lot about like, oh, that is so Orange Nebula, which means something really specific to us.
Mm-hmm.
But this game is very Orange Nebula. It has extra.
It has extra.
It has extra. It's super extra.
That means something.
This game is different than anything you will have played.
Yeah, it has a couple key things that we talk about, like, oh, this is what we would focus on in the Kickstarter campaign. Like, this is what really sets this game apart. And the thing that has me really excited is the things that we would focus on in this campaign that we think are the main selling points of this game. They're so unbelievably innovative and cool, have nothing to do with components.
Mm-hmm.
They're just conceptual, like, this game from a conceptual, mechanical level has fascinating things happening.
James is excited about it. He goes, woo, sci-fi game.
Yeah, Tom and I have been working on this game together. I started it, but I brought Tom in, and it's just so much better now. We're kind of co-developing that now. And when I first started, I was inspired by all the backers originally for Vindication who wanted a cooperative game. And so the conversations, well, I don't even know if there were conversations. The early concepts for me was, let's really dive in. Does a cooperative game just mean you're all on the same team, and instead of playing against each other, you're just playing together? Or what does it mean to really collaborate and be in a situation where you rely on each other? And so we're calling this a collaborative game and not necessarily a cooperative game. Maybe there's semantics there. But we've explored that to a high level, and there's a huge amount of discovery and exploration in this game, the unknown, that I think is really intriguing for people who like the discovery exploration aspect.
James and Andy are both really excited about it, they said. And Andy says he likes extra.
Extra's good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we're a year and a half in on this, and I think it might be surprising to see how far we are. We've just been focused on getting Vindication out, but I mean, this is all Tom and I are talking about pretty much is the new game right now. So.
They've been working really hard at it. It's so fun.
For a long time.
I like to stick my nose in and out and in and out of it.
We meet on it most days from about pre-dawn until dawn.
It's true.
Yeah.
They're working on it. I mean, these guys are meeting at the coffee shop at 6 a.m. in Portland and working on it till 8, 9 a.m. every day.
Well, and then into the evenings and then into the weekends. So this is how Vindication happens. Yeah, we work a lot of hours.
Okay. That's all the good questions we have in here. I mean, that's all the questions.
Everyone else's questions were bad.
All the other ones were terrible.
Ask better questions.
Do you want to bring in anybody else to kind of intro? Do you want to bring Derek
Pull Derek in? Yeah, can I trade? Because
yeah, go ahead.
you guys are awesome. I did it again.
Dang it. It's not dang it. That's his personality. Okay, we're going to go grab
I did
Derek.
it though. You're awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Go grab Derek.
So one thing we haven't really shown you is that Orange Nebula is not just 3 people. Orange Nebula is, in the bathroom. Okay. Orange Nebula is very much, in a literal sense, 6 people. And you're about to meet Derek.
What do we call his title? What do we call his title, Derek? He's the digital guy.
I forget.
Well, like the new website, the new Orange Nebula website was that was Derek's baby.
Yeah, Derek and Mel.
I want to show you guys some of the merch that we have here while we're waiting for Derek. So this is what we call the Rocket Vibes shirt.
Because of the vibes.
Okay, so we've got Tom
Yes.
modeling it today. This one, what do we call this one? The monster. The planet.
That one we're calling Monster Planet. Marc and I keep calling it World Eater, but that's super not accurate.
It's my favorite. This is the one I'm wearing, and I love it
that's
very
super
much.
cool.
We actually, everybody but Marc showed up in this shirt today.
Yeah,
to the
I
event.
changed just so we'd have some texture, but everyone showed up in the same shirt.
Marc can't come back in. This is Derek. He is
Inspiration
fantastic.
as ever, Derek.
Where
Derek,
did this come from?
my mom brought me this.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
She's
She
so
just wanted to say,
sweet.
this is what she brought me for the Orange Nebula.
Jug says, any reviewers have the game already? Love for the word to spread big time. So Jug wants to know if any reviewers have the game yet.
The reviewers have the game waiting for them when they get back from Essen is probably the short.
Yeah, we just sent them.
Mm-hmm.
So we did. We sent them off with a little kiss. We sent them over a little video.
It's going to be awkward, the kiss, but they better be used to
Maybe
that.
from you guys. So is Derek in the bathroom? Is that what we're
Yes, he's in the bathroom.
Okay. He's
We'll
gonna-
send in the fake Derek.
I'm going to tell him everybody.
Bring a different face in here.
So yeah, so we have sent the game out to many reviewers and hoping we get some, some good buzz going from that. Here's a couple more things that we've developed that we've got, and they'll all be available on the store next week.
Launching theoretically next week.
This is the sticker for that. Here's the Rocket Vibes sticker. We've got a little patch. There's Derek!
Sorry, I was in the bathroom apparently.
We told
Which
them.
I was, mind you.
You were in the bathroom?
I was.
Okay,
Full
this is
transparency
Derek.
here.
Okay,
Hey guys.
so Derek, what's your role at Orange Nebula?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Space here.
So my role at Orange Nebula is all things web and digital.
Okay.
So if you can click it or swipe it, I'm your guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you did a lot of the work on the new Orange Nebula website.
I did. Yeah, we have Nebsite 2.0 coming up here with the launch of the new store. But yeah, the site that's up there right now is yours truly. Really proud of it. The Vindication page.
And we really do call it the Neb site internally,
We do.
almost exclusively.
Nebsite.
Jug says, since we're getting all of this stuff up on the website in the
Uh-huh.
next week or so, they said they're going to be refreshing it constantly, so
I
you
would
better
hope
be
so.
on it.
I would hope so. That makes me feel really good because
Uh-huh.
that means people are I have all the power, unlimited power. But yeah, I'm really excited to get that up for everybody, and then be able to get that sweet merch and promo packs and all that good stuff into your hands because it's really cool. I gotta say.
So you were right out here with everybody today, so what
Uh-huh.
kind of feedback did you get today as you were handing over merch and games and whatnot?
I think people are just really, they're really happy to have it in their hands. I mean, that's the most exciting part. But I was having a conversation with Randy about some of the parts that he likes, and one of the things that he really mentioned, it's one of my favorite parts too, is the game trays.
Mm-hmm.
Is because and how much more enjoyable it is to play because all your components have a place to live while you're playing the game, as well as when it's stored in the box. And that was one of his favorite parts, and he was kind of talking about how much more enjoyable that was for him. But me personally, my favorite part was all the artwork, and that was one of Randy's favorite parts too, was how the artwork is kind of varied. You know, we have different artists from all over the world that have kind of contributed to the game.
Which like keeps interest, right?
Yeah.
It's like instead of it all being from one artist and it doesn't make it so homogenized, is that the right word for it? Where you kind of turn off because you get used to seeing the same style. But the different styles really makes it interesting every time you turn over a new card.
And I think too, it's really cool to see each artist's interpretation of the Vindication kind of universe.
Oh, yeah.
So some, kind of take this route, but others can take a completely different route, and it's beautiful all around, and it all plays very well together, even though there's kind of different styles.
Well, it's a testament to the power of design.
Oh,
where
yeah.
Where you can take all these disparate illustrations, but because of the way the surrounding elements are designed, it feels cohesive and it feels like it's all in the same universe.
Well, and like the tokens and the coins and that sort of stuff too, that they match the artwork, but they're tactile and you can feel them. Just kind of creates a really immersive experience. And I'm not a big board gamer myself. I love board games, but in terms of like board games that I've seen, like Vindication is just like mind blowing. Which the outpouring is important too. I'm not alone in that, so that's really exciting. But
Hey, we got anything else we need to share?
I don't know, are we missing anything? Have we scrolled all the way?
Yeah, I think we have. And I was going to show you the hat, but
oh yeah, I'm wrapping it.
Derek's wearing it already, so.
It's very comfortable, I have to say.
It is a quality hat, for sure.
Nice embroidered patch up top, and it just fits really well on the head. Like, I can't do flat bill hats all that well.
So you're working on.
Yeah, like my head is like kind of not shaped for flat bill hats, but I can curve this one around them. Oblong Noggin.
I'm also oblong noggin.
Uh-huh.
Oblong
Oblong
noggin.
noggins unite.
Yes.
I stole the high
All
five.
right.
She does that. Anyone in the room is having a high five and just like diving across tables.
Yeah, we had one today.
Did I miss it?
I tried to high five you, but you had like your drink was in your hand or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I count high fives. I count how good my day has
She
gone.
literally
based on the
does. She'll
number of
walk
fives.
up to him and be like, boom, 37.
Uh-huh.
You're like, oh, okay, it must be 9 a.m.
That's true. Okay, well, I think that's good. We will post this so that you can watch it back later because we just love to watch us. And we've got lots on Instagram stories and on Twitter from today. Again, we'll have the merch online in the next week or so. So if you refresh it 100 times, maybe by the 100th
We're
time.
counting refreshes, and
Yeah.
when it hits a set
It
threshold,
will unlock.
the site immediately
It will unlock.
unlocks.
It's actually a challenge.
Yes.
If we can get a
It's
certain
the
number of
refresh
refreshes,
challenge.
Mhm.
we will release
Sounds
the merch.
completely legitimate.
And that's not technically even possible. Okay, thank you guys so much.
Thank
We're
you,
gonna go
guys.
join the rest of the party and have some more snacks. Okay.
Snacks!
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna make it awkward to wait to push the end of the button since you already said bye.
Oh,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.